And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my live stream Q&A number six today. Here we are, June 24th, last live stream podcast of June. I have a lot to talk about, and I almost even made a list of it so I could talk about it in an organized fashion. But what I want to do is I want to get into your questions right away, and then I'll get into my show and tell. I want to say hello to Stephen. I want to say hello to Scott. Come to the mountain. If there's one thing we don't have here in small town Connecticut is mountains. But we do have a valley, believe it or not. We have a river valley here in Connecticut, which seems hard to believe, but we do have a river valley here in Connecticut. Okay, so everybody, remember how we work here. If you have questions, and I know you do, a couple of question marks before the question and then the question. And that's how I know you are there. Scott has plenty of mountains in Utah. Excellent. Now, I do have show and tell. So if those of you who are watching, I see we're already up to 14 people watching. Excellent. If you guys are still thinking of your questions, that's okay, because I have questions enough for both of us, including show and tell. So how about if maybe some of you saw my most recent YouTube video, the Stand By Me Challenge. I did it in the key of G, excuse me, and in the key of A, which is the original concert key. If any of you have questions about the YouTube challenge video that just posted last night, I'm happy to talk about that. Excuse me. I'll get my water. You think lots and lots of coffee would keep you hydrated, right? Why doesn't life work that way? But I do have some show and tell. Harmonica and guitar progress. Yes, I see those question marks. That's how we know it's a question. Hey, North County Fisher. SongBike. I wanted to come up with a name that was not boring and that hadn't been taken. So I wasn't going to do a YouTube channel with a name like Guitar Guy. Guitar lessons, two things I like in this world, songs and bikes. And I thought, SongBike, that's it. It made me happy. What can I say? It made me happy. SongBike, that's all. Bicycles, but motorcycles too. Bicycles tend to be safer. You might have noticed that. Okay. Bill R. saw the video last night. Excellent. David, hello, Eugene, Oregon. David, thank you for joining us. Okay, while you guys are formulating some questions, let me give you a little show and tell. You notice a theme here? If I hold these up to the camera, notice a little theme? Okay, I do not work for Hal Leonard Publications, although technically I have a Hal Leonard publication book back there. I do not work for Hal Leonard, but I use these books a lot in my teaching. And one thing I want to point out to you is sometimes books are written in a way that you can educate yourself. I'm not saying you're going to understand every page of these books. You might, but even if you don't, these books are pretty user-friendly. Hal Leonard has, they also have a folk guitar, a jazz guitar. I just grabbed these three. Ooh, I didn't grab blues guitar. The blues guitar, I like that the best of all this series. Okay, so bottom line, the Hal Leonard Guitar Method series, they choose kind of interesting guitars for the cover of each one. Okay, but I'll say it one more time. There's a blues guitar version that I like the best of all of them. It's too far away. I can't go and grab it. And there's a jazz guitar and there's a folk guitar. I think I have all of them. Anyways, these are books that I have used with my students for a long time. I mean, well over a decade. And they are really user-friendly. So even if you're not great at reading music, these will keep you entertained at a minimum. See how old these are? They used to come with CDs, and now it's more like you get an access code, and then you can type in the access code and access the stuff. You need the internet, although maybe you can download it onto your hard drive. I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to start off today with a little show and tell. I'm a book guy, so you're going to get a lot of book recommendations from me even if that's not how you've been learning guitar, I get it. There's lots of ways to learn the guitar. But some books I found to be super useful as a teacher. I'm going to show you some more as we go on. Oh, so let's have a little agenda here. I'm going to show you more books during the live stream today. I'm going to plug one of my books, seeing that we are 6 months away from Christmas Eve. It's time to talk about you learning holiday songs. Okay, so stick around. I'm going to plug my Christmas book. I'm going to show you why you need it and why you need it 6 months ahead of time. You don't want to get a Christmas book, you know, in November, December. You want to get it now, and you get the idea. And I'm going to update you on my Fender Custom Shop guitar. You'll notice it's not here. It's not here. My Fender Custom Shop guitar is about 45 minutes away from me, still at the guitar dealer who acted as the middleman. It's a story, so stick around. I will tell you that story. Okay, questions. Charlie Beagle says the name Party Marty was already taken. I'm not sure. To be clear, Party Marty is not the same as Marty Schwartz, right? I think I've seen Party Marty videos, but I really should, you know. Hey, Rob from Georgia, Chickamauga, Georgia. Let's see, who else do we have? Stephen Smith has the Chord and Scales book. Is that a Hal Leonard Chord and Scales book? I'm going to show you another scale book. Last time I plugged a couple of good books, and one of them was a scales book. I'm going to plug another scales book today, not because it's better, just a different format. But my point is you cannot go wrong getting yourself a book of scales. At a minimum, it gives you a few minutes of warm-up before you practice whatever you're going to practice. But best case scenario, you learn a lot about the guitar, about music theory from practicing scale books. Okay, I'll get to those recommendations shortly. Bill R. says, any easy thoughts on learning practicing triads? Yeah, this is a topic that's come up before. Jumping from triads down in the highest 3 strings and the lowest 3 strings. Oh, interesting. Any rhyme or reason to figure them all out or just wrote? Thanks. There's definitely a rhyme or reason. In fact, I would consider it to be my job to make sure you know how things connect between, say, the 3 treble strings and either the same or related information on the 3 bass strings, if you want to look at it that way. Those of you who have seen previous live streams, when the word triad pops up, I feel the need to make sure everyone knows we're on the same page. A triad is a 3-note chord. Like, say, a major chord is a 3-note chord. A minor chord is a 3-note chord. And let's leave it at that, majors and minors. Are there any other 3-note chords, any other triads? Sure. But let's focus on majors and minors, since that's our bread and butter. One example of a triad is the D grip, a D major chord. And if you focus your strumming or your bare finger picking, however you are approaching the guitar, if you focus on the 3 treble strings, you can take that D formation. I'm going to call it D formation, not a D chord. I'm going to call it a D formation right now. You can take that D formation and slide up and down the neck, and that's a triad. Everywhere you go, it's a triad. It's going to be a major triad everywhere you go, as long as you very carefully keep your hands in that formation. So another triad, believe it or not, is, this came up in my Stand By Me challenge video, which came out last night. 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret. 1 finger touching 3 skinny strings, but only 3 skinny strings, making a nice little bar. Technically, we'd call that a partial bar. 3 treble strings. That thing right there is a triad. In this particular fret, it's called the F sharp minor triad. Okay, there's a triad that can be glided up and down the neck, right, to get minor chords anywhere you go. So what we're talking about now is formations. We'll get to, I'm going to expand on this in a minute. There's more than these 2 formations. There's lots of formations that you can glide up and down the neck, but those are 2 right off the top of my head: the D formation, the D major formation, and that 1 finger formation, which gets minor chords wherever you want. By the way, the root note that gives this its name is found in the skinny string. Skinny string 2 is F sharp, therefore that's an F sharp minor. Skinny string 5 is A, therefore that's an A minor at the 5th fret. Okay, when you grab a D chord, just so happens The root note is the second string, third fret. And whatever the name of that note is, that's the name of the major chord. Okay. Now, I'm going to get some water in a second. I will. There's that left hand. I'm going to call it left hand for, because I'm a righty. There's that logic. Now, there's the second thing, which is important, which is the order, which is alphabetical, but there's this whole sharp flat thing. Yeah. Okay. So don't go anywhere. Ooh, and we're going to talk about circle of fifths today too, right? Circle of fifths. Okay. Keep me on this, right? Someone remind me, circle of fifths. Okay. H2O. To the rescue. It is 100% crucial, no matter what you aspire to play on the guitar, no matter what your, music is or aspirations, you have to memorize the order of music notes, which is alphabetical, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's the in-between stuff. And I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it right now, because you can go back and watch other live streams, or you can go back and watch this live stream, which posts pretty much immediately when we're done. Okay. Trying to think of the quickest way to do it. I'm just going to start on D, okay? A D major chord. Backwards 1 fret, a D flat major chord. D, D flat, D, D flat. D major chord up 1. Actually, this might not be the best way to do it, because what I really want you guys to do is know this stuff. I'm going to grab some scrap paper here. Is to know it apart from your guitars. I know we're all guitar players here, and we think the whole world revolves around the guitar, but nay, nay. Okay, don't go anywhere. Now, some of you know what I'm about to do here. All right, take a good look, everybody. Our musical alphabet, we love it, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Beautiful. And after G, it would start over again, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, higher and higher and higher until the human ear can no longer hear it. Just like it can go backwards in the other direction, get lower and lower and lower until the human ear can no longer hear it. Okay, here's what's important to remember. As you take any triad formation, whether it's that D major triad or that little F sharp minor triad, every time you move up 1 fret, you move another jump along this alphabetical thing. Now, the only problem is, it's not purely alphabetical. There's the in-between things. So if you're doing a D major chord and you move your D major chord up 1 fret, you land on one of these in-between sounds. By the way, these are the black keys on the piano. Your D major chord is now called D sharp. I'll write that in a minute. You move up to the next fret. It's called E. The next fret is F. E and F, everlasting friends. There's nothing between. You move your D formation up another fret. It's called an F sharp major chord. Move it up another fret. It's called a G major chord. I'm going to write in these sharp names. Okay, now this is what's crucial. This is what's crucial for you to memorize. Okay, there's no way around it. Some things in music and on the guitar, you just have to memorize. There's no negotiating, and you'll be glad you did. Okay, so a D formation chord, move it up 1 fret. The new name is a D sharp chord. Now, there's a pattern here, right? What you have to remember is when there's exceptions. Any kind of B triad, move it up 1 fret, it turns into a C. There's no sharp thing in between. Best chums, everlasting friends, okay? Best chums, everlasting friends, okay? I'm going to illustrate this on a, I keep using the D formation. D, D sharp, E, F. Do it again, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. Remember, best chums. Okay, so this piece of paper, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. This piece of paper is what you have to memorize. It helps you in every possible way. But if you want to get a grip on how triads move up and down the neck, this is how you keep track. You know, every time you move 1 fret up or down, you move one step in either direction. Notice I ran out of paper. The next thing should be G sharp, right? If I'm doing a G chord and I move it up one more fret, it's a G sharp major chord. Last thing, all these sharp names have flat names associated with them. Okay, those of you know, say it with me. Another name for A sharp is B flat. Okay, that thing in between A and B has two names. Sorry, just does. A sharp, also known as B flat. C sharp, also known as D flat. D sharp, also known as E flat. F sharp, also known as G flat. G sharp, also known as A flat. Yeah, I know, it's a pain. Okay. In a way, I'm glad I ran out of paper because then you just have to understand the system, right? The next thing after G would be either G, you could call it G sharp or you could call it A flat. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. But that is how you figure out alternative ways of playing chords. Take a D chord, move it up enough frets. It still feels like D, but the name is now G. 7, 8, 7. It's a G chord, and so on. Okay, I'm happy to return this subject, but I kind of want to move on. Okay, let's see. Who else do we have? Hey, Charlie Beagle. Hey, Cecile from Montreal. I've been to Montreal. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Hey, David Belcher, did you see my question on KYG, Know Your Gear yesterday? That was me. That was me reaching out to our buddy. Yeah, so I'll tell you details. KYG is a podcast and YouTube channel called Know Your Gear, KYG for short. And just like here, you can text questions to a very educated young man who has a lot of answers. And so I asked him a question yesterday and got an answer, just like I'm hoping to answer your questions today. Let's see, beginner guitar. Hey, thanks for being the moderator, beginner guitar. Welcome. Doug from Denver. I'm reading your question, Doug. Okay, Doug says, mixing major and minor is great over major tracks. Can you mix major into minor tracks? Are you talking about pentatonic scales by any chance, Doug? Using certain scales to improvise on top of certain chord changes? Maybe you are, but help me out. Then you also ask, chord tones, sevenths can be flattened. Can you explain the difference in sevenths? Yes, let's start with that. Again, we're talking about music theory here, which is you'll never regret learning more and more about music theory. You'll hear about dominant sevens, major sevens, and minor sevens. And we're talking about different chords here, right? Dominant seventh chords. Sometimes you say dominant. You'll hear dominant sevens, dominant sevenths. That th means the same thing. Sometimes people won't bother to say the word dominant. They'll just say, G7, D7. You hear about major sevens, and then if someone wants a major seven chord, they have to say the word major. And if someone wants a minor seven, they have to say the word minor. So I'm going to tell you about the different flavors. Actually, I'll play them, and then I'll tell you about the breakdown of the music theory. And I'm going to use our good buddy C as an example. Is that the best example? Yeah, why not? Okay. A major. I'm going to start with major seven because. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do A. I think I'm going to use A as my example. Oh, D. Dang it. No, I'm going to use D as my example. All right. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. D major chord, right? We got it. Okay. D major seven. The reason it's called D major seven is because it includes the seventh degree of a D major scale. The seventh degree of a D major scale is a note C sharp. Okay. How do you get a C sharp here? I know this is what looked like the F sharp minor chord a minute ago, but we're going to include the D, the fourth open D string. Okay. I am now doing a small bar in the second fret across the first three treble strings. When I just strummed, I included my fourth open string. A D major seven. Okay, we have the open D string, obviously. Third string, second fret, that's note A. Second string, second fret, that's the C sharp we need for this flavor. And then first string, second fret, F sharp. A D major 7. A D dominant 7, sometimes simply called a D 7th chord. One note changes. The note that was the second string, second fret, C sharp, changes to the second string, first string, C natural. I'm saying C natural to leave no room for doubt that it's a C, regular C note. Okay, that regular C note is not a note from the D major scale. It is the flatted 7th note. It's we modified, I don't know, we messed with one of the notes of a D major scale. It was a C sharp, and literally on the guitar, we moved it back one fret, second string, second fret to second string, first fret. That's also known as flatting a note. And now that gives us a D dominant 7th chord, also simply known as D7. Notice the bluesy kind of sound now. D major 7, to me that has kind of a dreamy, romantic 70s folk rock sound. There's D major 7, D 7th or D dominant 7. That little bluesy edge to it, right? 7th chords are at the heart of blues music. You can't have blues music without 7th chords. Okay, so real quick, the formula of a D major 7 or any major 7, the first, third, fifth, and 7th notes of a major scale. So any major 7 chord, 4 notes, not a triad, 4 notes, first, third, fifth, and 7th notes of a major scale. A dominant 7th chord, first, third, fifth, and flatted 7th notes of a major scale. And that leads us to a minor 7. And I'm going to use D minor 7 as an example. Imagine doing an F chord, but only squeezing the first 3 strings. So here I'm doing what feels like an F chord, right? I'm doing a little bar, first 2 skinny strings, first fret, middle finger, third string, second fret, but that's it. I am going to strum and include the open 4th string. So physically, that's a D minor 7. Musically, what's going on? The formula for a minor 7th chord, the first note of a major scale, the flatted 3rd note of a major scale. In this case, what would be an F sharp for D major scale is an F natural instead. Where is that F natural? Skinny string, first fret. The 5th degree of the scale and the flatted 7th degree of the major scale. I'll say it again. The definition of a minor 7th chord, it's 4 notes, by the way, again, not a triad. 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. By the way, they don't have to go in that order. Let me be clear about that. Those 4 notes I just talked about, 1, 3, 5, 1 flat 3, 5, and flat 7. The notes of any chord, do not have to be played in the order I just said, 1 flat 3, blah, blah, blah. You can put the notes of a chord in any order, high, low, anywhere, okay? Those would be known as chord inversions, right? If they don't go in what would seem to be a logical order, 1 flat 3, 5, flat 7, whatever, they're just inversions. We do it all the time. So don't overthink that. In terms of the effect you get when you strum a minor chord, to me, it's a very ambivalent, wishy-washy. It's not a very powerful sound. One of those days where it's not quite raining and you don't quite have time to do something you want to do, but you don't have an immediate deadline to race off and do something you're supposed to do. It's one of those like, I don't know. It's an I don't know chord. Doesn't mean it's not an effective chord in the right hands at the right moment, but a minor 7th chord, it's not a very, I'm going to stop talking so much. Neil Young uses an E minor 7 quite a bit. An E minor, just regular old E minor, right? We all know E minor. He makes good use of adding on the flatted 7th note of an E major scale, second string, 3rd fret. Good old Heart of Gold and other songs too. So Don't listen to me. Neil Young uses a minor seventh chord to great effect. E minor 7. Somewhere out there in the YouTube universe, I have a video on how to play Heart of Gold. I must. Anyways, to me, in general, minor seventh chords have a dreamy kind of sound. Okay, moving on. Doug, did you clarify for me here? A to Z, me. I will get to your question, Charlie Beagle. I see you have a question there. Doug, you say thanks. Okay, Doug, you're very, very, very welcome. Okay, hey, folks, quick reminders. Don't forget to put question marks before your questions. You got that. Should you be so inclined, you are welcome to donate to the cause by doing a super chat. Yesterday, I did my first super chat because I asked Know Your Gear, Phil McKnight. I asked him a question, and I threw $5 his way because I appreciate what he does, and I really wanted him to answer my question, and he did. So more about that later. But I appreciate it if you are so inclined. Thank you in advance. Harmonica and guitar progress. Hey man, how are you? Okay. Where A to Z me says, why are there no space between the B and the C? Right? Where's my little show and tell? Right? Why did music develop this way? You know, B and C are stuck together. E and F are stuck together. Whether you're talking about the notes B and C or B and C chords, or E and F chords, E and F notes, however you want to look at it, there's literally nothing in between. On a piano, you see two white keys side by side without that black key in between. By the way, having a piano handy, any sort of keyboard handy, is hugely helpful. You get that hugely in understanding music theory. There's something about the literally black and white and linear nature of a piano that for many, many, many of us, music theory just makes sense on the piano quicker than on the guitar. So it doesn't have to be, a huge, big piece of furniture, just a little keyboard. If you can find it at a garage sale or something, doesn't have to sound great, doesn't have to look great, but it can be eye-opening. But A to Z, I want to say your name right. A to Z, me, I don't know, which I probably should have led with. I do not know how music developed. Somebody does know. But why is this system considered logical and something that we all just have to accept? I don't know. I know I should, right? I should. I know it makes my job easier to just accept it and go with the flow. Since everyone else seems to have done that. Hey, Michael Fisher, I'm glad you made it to the live stream. Michael, welcome. Let's see. Where are we here? Charlie Beagle, I'm reading your question. Does anybody fret the D chord with their middle finger? Oh, yeah. The short answer is that is not a conventional way. Does everyone know what he's talking about? Here's what I would consider to be the conventional D. And I'm going to reverse, I'm going to flip-flop my index and middle. So if you and I were doing private one-on-one lessons, I would say, hey, man, don't do that. You would have to give me a pressing reason why you had to do D that way. Having said that, it's going to sound the same as everyone else's D, and just out of context, it's fine. But I'm still going to push you to do it the way most everyone else does. Why? Why would I push you to do that? I think there's some fun things you can do based on a conventional grip of a D chord that will require you to hold the conventional way. And if you only ever did G in an unconventional way, it might hold you back. I don't know. So having said that, the guitar, as you've heard me say before, you keep your eyes open as you all watch more guitar players, including watching me, but lots of people, you'll see people do things a little bit differently from each other. And it's okay. But whether or not I say it's okay, doesn't matter because people are going to do it anyways. But it's fun to keep your eyes open and say, wait a minute. I'm going to try to share this link with you guys. Speaking of people who do things differently from each other, we all were talking a little while ago in one of the live streams about resting your pinky on the pick guard or somewhere on the guitar. And in general, I tell people, I don't do that, but it doesn't make you a bad guitar player, right? So I was watching a video, and I'm going to post you a link to this video if I can, right in the chat, because it's such a cool video. Chet Atkins and Mark Knopfler doing a live duet, and oh, well, if one of you guys want to go on YouTube or on YouTube, well, if someone knows how to do it, you could post it in the chat and let us know. Here's the thing Jonathan was talking about. Mark Knopfler's pinky finger is not, it's clearly not pressing stiffly into the guitar, but it's as he's picking, he's got bare fingers. As he's picking, you can see his fingers sort of, it's doing the thing I told you not to do, By the way, I might have mentioned this before too. When you see Mark Knopfler play, Mark Knopfler does not use a pick. So I assume anytime you ever see him, you're going to notice this. Number one, his thumb is enormous. And number two, it really extends. So when he's finger picking, you really see his thumb like way out like this, parallel to the strings. But it's not that it's parallel to the strings, it's that it's so far away from the rest of his hand. And his other fingers are down here. And again, his thumb seems enormous. Chet Atkins, if you look at this video, which I don't try to post in some form sooner or later, he's wearing a plastic thumb pick. I'm going to grab mine just for illustrative purposes. And there are moments when hey, who stole my thumb pick? There are moments when he picks with his thumb pick as if it were a regular flat pick, which I thought were kind of cool. That's why it's so fun to watch, this world we live in where you can watch guitar players relatively close up. So a thumb pick in general, your thumb bounces back and forth, your finger picking, whatever. But there are moments in this one video where Chet Atkins you could see he would sort of close up his hand, or certainly his thumb and his pointer. There's no reason for the pointer to be like this unless you want to play like a flat picker, So it was just fun to see Chet Atkins. His thumb would be moving around, but then there'd be moments when he'd, like I said, close up his index and play with it like a pick, and then open his hand back up again. Not something that I personally do, but I see the logic. So I'm not gonna say that's wrong anyway. Okay, did I answer the question that I was asked? I did. Hey, I see a super chat for $5. Who's throwing this money my way? I want to say thank you. Who's doing that? Can I tell from clicking on it? Charlie Beagle. Hey. Oh yeah, Charlie Beagle is asking. This is actually let's pause this guitar talk. He's asking an extremely important question. Here on the Connecticut shoreline, there are a few restaurants that describe what they offer as a pizza. A pizza. They don't just say, come on and eat some pizza. They call it a pizza. So if we call it that, do you say, and a pizza? And a pizza. A pizza. Yeah. Whoa. Now you know what I'll be thinking about tonight when I am trying to sleep. Fair question. Fair question. Yeah. Okay. I know when I lean in towards the microphones here, my voice gets kind of right up in your grill. Let's see where we left off here. Okay. Johnny Midnight, welcome back. Diminished chords. Charlie Beagle, you're asking about diminished chords. Yeah, diminished chords are less popular in modern day pop music, right? We get by with majors and minors and sevenths, and but diminished chords you don't hear so much in your typical pop music, which is why not just me, but let's see how many people are watching. We got 33 people watching right now. I bet a lot of you have never had the reason to use a diminished chord in a typical song. I mean, that isn't to say no one ever used them, but yeah, they don't show up quite so much, right? If you really want to hunt down places where you're going to find a lot of diminished chords, you're getting into jazz, jazz tunes and jazz-related tunes. That feeling of that jazzy harmony. Diminished chords, because some of you are saying, what are you talking about? Diminished chords, depending how what you associate this with. Diminished chords in a kind of a movie when a character is talking about a dream they had the night before, and the screen gets all wavy. I had the strangest dream, you know, and in the background you hear diminished chords. That's one extremely common, you know, use of the diminished chord harmony, and the other is the old someone's tied to the railroad tracks, and the trains come in, you know, and so on and so on. There's lots of ways of playing diminished chords. Real quick, I'll show you. I wish I had a song that I could say, oh, you know, the Beatles use a diminished chord right here, and then now teach you. That thing exists. Somewhere out there is a catchy, famous song that has a diminished chord in it, you know, and I wish I had that to offer you. But I'll show you how to play a diminished chord. I'm going to play, I don't want to get too much into music theory here. I'm going to call this a G diminished. My pinky's going to be on the note G on the skinny string 3rd fret. That's the note G. You got to put your pinky there. I'm going to describe this diminished chord the way it would be described in tab, and I'll put it in the description of this video when I do the timestamps. Starting on the skinny string, 3 2 3 2, 3 2 3 2. So that is pinky 1st string 3rd fret. Now this is going to be important. Middle finger, got to be your middle finger. 2nd string 2nd fret, has to be your middle finger. Trust me. Ring finger, 3rd string 3rd fret. Index finger, 4th string 2nd fret. Don't worry, I'll say it again. Pinky, 1st string 3rd fret. Middle finger, 2nd string 2nd fret. Ring finger, 3rd string 3rd fret. Pointer finger, 4th string 2nd fret. Now, only strum those 4 skinny strings. If it sounds wrong, you're right. Okay, now, don't move. Keep it there. I hope you didn't take your hand away. Keep it there. You can take that grip and glide it up and down the neck of the guitar because you've created a closed position chord. You're squeezing 4 strings, avoiding the 2 fat strings. So, and that's how you get that sound effect of someone tied to the railroad tracks, and things are getting more and more dramatic. Okay, diminished chord. Let's see here. Ralphie says, I just want to thank you for your videos. Thank you, Ralphie. Ralphie says, I became aware of your channel when I was looking for a tutorial on Run Through the Jungle CCR. Yeah, man, I think I realized I'd made so many Creedence Clearwater Revival videos that I finally just made a playlist. I know I did it with Tom Petty. On my YouTube channel, I think I have a playlist that said, okay, there's a whole bunch of Tom Petty videos. You know, it's because as a teacher, not just as a music fan, but as a teacher, John Fogerty and his songwriting, Tom Petty and his songwriting, their stuff just works really, really well, at least in my mind. Maybe it's because I grew up hearing this stuff, but Tom Petty songs and CCR songs just work really, really well for guitar teachers. Okay. Johnny Midnight, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Okay. Oh, Johnny Midnight is reminding you guys to hit the like button. I appreciate that. We got 44 viewers and 24 thumbs up. So let's make it equal, right? I believe in equality. So yeah, I appreciate getting some more likes on here. If you were to ask me what it means to me to get the likes financially or something on YouTube, I do not know. I just know it's just nice. Okay. Doug Smith is talking about passing chords for minor sevens. You mean using them as passing chords? Yeah, maybe. Passing chords are a beautiful concept. I'm not going to get into that at the moment, but yeah. Doug was referring to blues. Okay, gotcha. Guitar and Deserts says Ken. I want that so much to be guitar and desserts. I know it's deserts, I know, but I want that to be guitar and desserts. It just sounds like a good Saturday thing. Guitar and deserts say, can callouses be a problem for playing? No. Although there's a legendary story of Stevie Ray Vaughan having a big, thick callus on the tip of his finger, and right before a concert, it essentially fell off right before a show, and he super glued it back on. It's a legend. It's epic. Did he really do it? I guess I've heard that story a number of places. So, calluses are a beautiful thing. I've even heard people argue that instead of growing out your fingernails on your picking hand, if you simply use your fingertips enough, your picking hand gets calluses the same way your fretting hand gets calluses, and that can make up for maybe an inability to grow strong fingernails, or a desire, lack of desire to grow out your fingernails. So no, calluses are a beautiful thing. Okay, Brian O'Donnell. Hey, Brian. I'm reading your question. Thank you for buying my books, Brian. So your question is, any ideas on transgressing between chords and strumming, stuck in chord learning land? I think, Brian, you're going to clarify, I'm sure. I think what you're talking about is going from a strummer to someone who can put in single note stuff and then get right back into strumming. Is it that kind of thing? Right? We all want to be that person, including me, right? It's one of the coolest things you can do. You're strumming chords, you're fulfilling your obligations as a chord provider to the world, but then you throw in little things here and there, either just on a whim because it's a free country, or because literally maybe that's how the song goes and you're playing a very specific song, or the sing has stopped and it's time for somebody to do something, to fill that space. If that's what you're talking about, and I hope it is, because that's what I want to talk about, Brian, there's something called the universal riff, and I was just kind of using it a little bit. The universal riff is covered in that book, the Hal Leonard book, and maybe, is it in this one too? I'll tell you in a moment. No, I guess not. But I'll get you guys started on it right now. This is with my live in-person students, I've written this out in a couple of different formats. But the bottom line is the universal riff. Long story short, that little riff, number one, a total cliche, and I mean that both in a good and bad way. It leads nicely to practically any chord you've ever learned down here. I was going to A minor. There's D major, okay, and so on and so on. I'll run you through it quickly because you can always go back and watch this, okay? The universal riff is my name for it. I have no idea what other people call it. I just know I heard it in a zillion songs. I'm like, wait a minute. It leads to everything. Well, I heard it used in a few contexts. And then I said, does it go to A minor? Does it go to C? Does it go to E minor? And lo and behold, it did. Okay. I'm going to tell you how you have to play it. And some of you will do it my way, and some of you will do it your own way. Middle finger, third skinny string, also known as the G string. Middle finger, G string. A quick slide from 2 up to 4. Keep it down. Don't lift it off. Keep it down. That's step number 1. Step number 2, index finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret. It was waiting right there anyways, right? 3rd step, that middle finger note, you're going to glide, pluck it, slide back to 2. That's where you started from. 4th step, open 3rd string. So, only use those first 2 fingers. No ring, no pinky. Okay? But you have to slide with your middle finger. You have to use your index finger here. Middle finger backwards, and then open. Okay? So, Brian, that is what comes to mind, at least immediately, when I read your question, and I hope that addresses something. It's a gateway. it's a cliche, but it's a gateway. All of a sudden you're strumming and throwing in that little riff and strumming and throwing in that riff. And hopefully you feel the way I did. When I first did that, I was like, whoa, the context for me was a blues tune, essentially on an E7 chord. And then there was a cassette of all things. Remember cassettes, right? Cassettes. And the guitar player had the E7 going. And then it went. And I figured it out all by myself. I was like, what? Wait a minute. Very proud. The song was Sleepy John Estes. Sleepy John Estes. I think it was just his version of, it wasn't Baby Please Don't Go. Is it called the Diving Duck Blues? So yeah, I gotta look it up. Anyway, Sleepy John Estes. So I learned it, got it, I was so happy. And later on, I thought, wow, could that go to other chords? Ooh, it sounds nice going to G major, and so on. Okay, the universal riff found in my Hal Leonard publication right back there. Hey, Bruce, welcome. Hey, Joseph. Joseph, you got to see the Stand By Me video. Excellent, excellent. Harmonica and Guitar Progress asked a question. How often does Phil McKnight do live streams? Yes, Fridays. I believe it's every Friday. Here in the East Coast, it is at 6 p.m. Yesterday, it was a little bit earlier because he's at a guitar gear event or something. But yeah, Know Your Gear with Phil McKnight. He just seems like such a great guy. If the way I hope you guys enjoy what I put out on the internet, I enjoy what Phil does. In fact, I'd be humbled if you enjoyed what I did the way I enjoy what Phil does. So he gets, he talks about some pretty technical stuff, some of which I understand, some of which I'm like, oh, dude, I don't really know what a capacitor does. I don't really know what all the parts of an electric guitar pickup do exactly. I kind of do. But he covers a lot of ground. So he'll review a $200 guitar and he'll review a $5,000 guitar. And he just seems like a great guy. So I recommend him. And he's got 1 million videos on YouTube, but Fridays is when he does his live streams. And his live streams inspired me to do this live stream. Fridays at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Okay. Doug is bringing up the caged system, and I've thank you for bringing up the caged system. The caged system is actually CAGED, and it stands for each of those letters stands for a C grip, a C chord, an A chord, and so on. It's a system for familiarizing yourself with a guitar fretboard. I do not. I'm not for it or against it, but it's one of those systems that's out there, and I believe tons of people benefit from it. So I'm not going to say don't explore the cage system. I just think that I learned the fretboard without knowing it was the caged system, and so when I say learn the fretboard, I made my peace with the fretboard, or I got a foothold on the fretboard. By the time I heard there was such a thing called a cage system, I'd already figured it out in my own way. And so someday though, I got to sit down. You know what I need? And I mentioned this maybe on the very first live stream. Since I'm a book guy, I need someone to get me a caged system book and send it to me. And I will. I'll sit down and read it, and I'll see if there's a way I can use it to supplement my teaching. I'm always looking for new things to teach, new perspectives on stuff. So real quick, the cage system chooses those 5 chords. I'm going to use the D, C-A-G-E-D, caged, right? I'm going to use the D as an example. It has to do with the thing I talked about at the beginning of our live stream. You take a formation And instead of, overthinking it, you just glide that formation up and down the neck, a D chord up and down the neck, and the name changes, but it always feels like a D formation, which is nice because we like the D formation, but it tends to be really pretty easy. But it gives you a sense of mastery over the guitar fretboard, right? Because all of a sudden, then you're the person who's up going. I always use the song as an example. Good old "Over the Hills and Far Away" by Led Zeppelin. But you didn't learn any wild new technique. You took the D major that you probably learned very early in your progress, or one that you're working on now, and you're using that as your what do you want to call that? As it's like a pickaxe, and you're picking through the stone of the knowledge, and you're picking and picking and picking, like hitting with a hammer. Like, oh, I can do D, I can do F like this, I can do G like this, I can do A, and like before you know it, you've carved through the stone and you've made it to freedom, and now you're gliding your D formation up and down the neck. That's my take on the caged system. So I'll leave it at that because I don't want my ignorance to show too much. But someone buy me a book about cage stuff, and I'll see if it can open up my eyes. Stephen, I'm glad you like that universal riff. That's awesome. Yeah, isn't it? If I have a superpower, for lack of a better term, I really like finding a cool thing that's accessible, and then making it super accessible, And to me, that universal riff is like, oh my God, I assume, oh, well, here's my thing. This book, of course, I want you all to buy it, right? But secondarily, I want guitar teachers to buy this book. Oh my God, if guitar, there's like, I forget how many, I don't know, maybe 20 ideas in this book. Every page in this book, every couple pages, is something a guitar teacher could use. And believe me, there's situations, I teach 45-minute guitar lessons. So you teach 32 minutes and you've kind of done what you've wanted to do. And like, crap, man, I gotta fill up this time. And this person paid me for 45 minutes. This book is full of like something that a guitar teacher could flip open and say, okay, kid, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do this page. And it's a one-page open string blues trick. It's going to take, hypothetically, you've got 11 minutes to fill, say. It's going to take 5 minutes to teach it, 6 minutes to help the student start playing it. And here comes mom to pick up the child, and now it's coffee time. So what's my point? Oh, if you like the universal riff, I do too, man. I can't, to me, that's gold. Almost literally gold, because I take something like an accessible thing like that, and number one, I can't wait to show it to people, and number two, I think, oh, that's it. It's like I have a new flavor of ice cream that I know everybody's gonna like. Like, man, come and get this ice cream, man. It's amazing, blueberry lemon. Come on, That's how I think, anyways. If I can sum it up on one page, and then I just photocopy it, I mean, that's. What I just described to you is a typical work day for me, except once I started writing them down in books, then I didn't have to write them out by hand anymore. It's a beautiful thing. So I almost wish I could magically access other guitar teachers like me and say, dude, buy my book. I know it's $15 or whatever, but it's going to save you bacon, man. When you've got those last 7 minutes of a lesson, you've got to do something quick and cute. And, among other things, the book is really good for that. Okay, I'm reading comments, and I'm going to scroll up a little bit to make sure I don't miss anything. I might take a break for a second here because we've been going for just about an hour. I might take a break and throw some more ideas your way. Oh, and I want to tell you my Fender Custom Shop story. Chuck Snyder says, are these books in digital format? Sort of, yes. Chuck, thank you for asking, first of all. Every book I've written, no, how am I going to say this? The book I just showed you is published by Hal Leonard Publications, and you can buy it from me directly. I get to keep all the money, so to speak. I appreciate that. You can do that through my website. You can buy it from Amazon, especially if you live outside the US, you have to get it from Amazon or from someplace else. I apologize for that. But even if you throw it in with your Amazon order and you choose not to buy it from me directly, I get that. I believe on Amazon, you can buy a digital copy of that book. So everything else, including the Christmas book I'm going to show you in a minute, everything else is only available as an electronic book. And I'm going to show you this book in a second. It looks like a real book, doesn't it? It really does. This cost me $50 to print out. So for me to sell it to you, even for $55, I'd make a $5 profit, and then it would easily be $5, $6, $7, $8 to ship it. So I'd be asking you to spend $60. It's just I can't. But you can get the electronic copy for I think $19.95, and I'll give you my sales pitch about that in a minute. So, and all those are available from my website. So Chuck, thank you for asking. Everything behind me is available from my website, but almost all of them are e-books. So just to be 100% clear, when you buy an e-book, you are emailed a link to download that book. You do not get it in the mail. And I know you've heard me say this before, but once every couple of months, I get a very angry email from someone who says, I ordered the book 6 weeks ago. It hasn't arrived yet. And then I have to have this conversation with that person. Okay. All right. So I'll put the link to my website in the chat. And then I think it's time for my Christmas book sales pitch. Okay, there is my website. Okay, so everybody, I'll make this short because this is about you and your questions, but I want to, in my mind, I'm doing you a favor because I'm talking about it literally 6 months before Christmas Eve, right? For those of you who do not celebrate Christmas, I appreciate your patience, okay? What I'm going to say, though, I'm applying it to Christmas music, but some of what I talk about, the way I set up this book, it's an interesting way of looking at the guitar for any type of music. Okay, so what I did in this book is I took 31 Christmas songs. I chose songs that are not under copyright restrictions because it just seemed to be a healthy way to approach the commercial marketplace, to choose songs such as Away in a Manger, Jingle Bells, Oh Holy Night, Up on the Housetop, What Child Is This? I threw in Old Lang Syne because, end of the year, Deck the Halls, Jolly Old St. Nicholas, Joy to the World. Okay, songs that are not covered by copyright. I would love to do a volume 2 where I sneak in a whole bunch of songs that are copywritten, but I decided to play it safe. Okay, 31 songs, and every song is presented 3 ways. You can take a song, even though it's presented 3 ways, each song, you can actually use it 4 different ways. And so here's what I'm getting at. And I did this song with you folks in mind because I feel like I'm getting to know you, but I don't know you individually, but I know you play the guitar. So here's what I did. Angels We Have Heard on High. Remember, each song is presented 3 ways. Okay, the first way, just the melody. About as simple as you can present a song. It's written with tab, and if you follow along with the tab, you get the melody of the tune. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly sing o'er the plain. Okay, some of you, this is where you're at. This alone is enough of a challenge to start from the beginning, get to the end, pick out the melody, and you get that satisfaction. People listen to you, they hear Angels we have heard on high. Excellent. Now, some of you are like, dude, I'm ready for a bigger challenge. I know you are. I know you are. Okay. Second approach, the chords with the first set of lyrics, okay? Chords and lyrics, but with a strum pattern. So it doesn't just say, play C, G, D minor, whatever. It tells you how to strum it, an appropriate way to strum it if you or someone else is singing along. This is what you need if you're going Christmas caroling, or you want to sing along or whatever, right? It tells you the chords and an appropriate strum pattern that fits the song. Remember how I said I present the song 3 ways, but you can use it 4 ways? Okay. If there are 2 guitar players, one person can strum the chords and the other person can do that easy peasy melody on this page, right? Okay, you'll each have to get your own copy. I won't mind that. Well, you could photocopy it, I guess, but believe me when I say that 2 guitars playing together is such a beautifully sweet sound. It's fine if one guitar player is just playing a very simple melody and someone else is just doing the chords. Don't underestimate how great that sounds when one person is doing the melody and the other person is doing the chords, okay? It's a beautiful, beautiful sound. Even if it might feel kind of easy to some of you, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so we have the melody. We have the chords. We have doing the chords and melody together. By the way, you could record yourself. You could record yourself playing the chords and then play the melody on top of that. I highly recommend that. Okay, and the last thing for you guys who are ready for the big time. This is how you make money. Gather around, children. This is how you make money. Okay, you get yourself a Christmas gift and you start practicing now and you do chord melody arrangements. Chord melody arrangements. What does that mean? I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Okay, literally, you're combining a chord, melody notes, another chord, melody notes. It gives a full, rich sound. I will demonstrate. When you potentially, hypothetically, walk into a nice cafe on December 19th, and there's some person in the corner strumming, playing the guitar quietly, playing Christmas songs, and it sounds full and complete, and you know what the song is, even though no one's singing, the person may well be doing a chord melody version. Now, and again, there's 31 of these songs in the book, and each one is presented these multiple ways. Okay, so bear with me. So we have the melody, just the melody, right? Okay, that's the first line. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly sing over the plains. Okay, we have the chord strumming. Doesn't sound like anything, right? Just sounds like some guy strumming the guitar. Remember, this is the accompaniment. The premise here is that you or a huge room of people are all singing along. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains. I've kept the strumming very simple for all these tunes, and I've made sure the chords are about as easy as they can possibly be. I've tried to stay away from F as much as possible. I have no bar chords. I mean, we're talking about C's and E minors and A minors. I can't promise you there's never an F chord, but yeah. Okay, and now, to me, like just absolutely one of the most beautiful approaches to playing the guitar is the chord melody approach. And I hope this comes through the mics okay, because I know these mics don't always pick up the guitar the way I want them to. What I want you to listen for is the melody, of course, but I want you to listen to see how the chords flesh out everything. I'm going to do that again because I can do better. Here it comes again. Okay, so hopefully that came through okay in these mics, right? I'm strumming the chords, I'm filling out the sound, but I'm putting the melody as well. A beautiful thing about a chord melody arrangement is a lot of the time, especially the songs I chose in this book, you don't have to go fast. Okay, so that's my sales pitch. We are now 6 months away from Christmas. 31 songs. You can choose if you want to play the melody, the chords, or combine the melody and chords in what I just did. Okay, this is available as an e-book on my website. Okay, and I appreciate you guys letting me plug my stuff here. I'm just so proud of that book. It's such a great idea. I never saw songs presented that way, where you could choose which way you want to play it, depending on either your level of ability or how you want to perform. And, Because the alternative would be like, here's a book of Christmas songs. Okay, well, is it the chords? Maybe, I don't know. Is it the melody? Maybe. Like, you don't know till you get it, you flip through it. Is it appropriate for you? It may or may not be appropriate. This one is appropriate for 3 types of people. So, right, people want to play the melody, people want to play the chords, or hot shots who want to combine both of them. Okay, or like I said, a duet, so one person plays the chords, one person plays the melody. Also a way to get a gig, man. You know, one of you play the melody, one of you play the chords, now you're up and running, you got a gig. Okay, and that book is available from my website, song-bike.com. I put that in the chat. Okay, back to you guys. I see lots of stuff going on here. I'm looking for questions. Chuck asked, does it have both tab and notes? Yes, yeah, all my books have both tab and notes. Sometimes I wonder if I should even put the proper music, the notes, if I should put that in at all. Because for one reason, it means it takes up half the page, if you think about it, right? When you see it, here's Joy to the World. In theory, I could fit in twice as much music if I didn't have the proper music up top, right? If I just had a tab. Ultimately, obviously, I decided to keep them both in, but you know, I thought about it for a variety of reasons. I thought about it. Joseph says, have you written any original songs, Jonathan? Yes, yeah, I have. I love. In fact, I would go as far as to say that's. I'd be a better guitar player if I didn't sit around and write songs so much. If I just focused on, you know, playing the guitar. But yeah, I've written a bunch of songs, and I love songwriting, and I look forward to sharing that with you guys someday. Honestly, someday. Okay. A2Z Me says, is the book digitized? Yeah. One more time. All my books are available as ebooks, and you download them. The only thing is the Hal Leonard book. If you want a digital copy of this, I believe you have to go, well, either the Hal Leonard website, Hal Leonard Publications, either their website, there's Hal Leonard right there, either their website, or I think on Amazon, you might be able to buy a digital copy. And I get my royalty check. I get 2 royalty checks a year from Hal Leonard. And I get paid a little bit less if someone downloads a digital copy, and I get paid a little bit more if someone buys the actual hard copy. So, okay. Looking. I see lots of comments. Bear with me, you guys. It's always a great day when Jonathan sings. Right now, my wife she rolled her eyes. I can just tell. Scott Rhodes, I'm reading your comment, Scott, your question. Yeah, Scott is making a good point. Scott says, do you have a tip? He says, as a word guy, when I write a song, it's relatively easy to put chords to words. But if I come up with a progression first, it's hard to add words. It's a struggle. Yeah. But I know exactly what you're talking about. And if you already have the melody, not just the chords, but a strict melody, then you are stuck shoehorning, if that's the right word, to take a shoehorn, you're shoehorning your thoughts into what is now a pre-existing chord progression and melody, especially if there's a melody. It's tricky. So I feel your pain. I know that. I love coming up with a cool chord progression and melody, but once that's established, it's like crap. Now I feel I'm limited as to lyrics and stuff. So I'll tell you one solution I found, and I'm speaking as an amateur songwriter, right? So I can't promise you success, but I can tell you what I've been trying to do. Write all the words first, without any melody. In fact, write more. Write more. Just get a whole bunch of your thoughts down on paper, a whole bunch of thoughts. And then make it as complete as possible. If you want to write a love song about your dog, get all those thoughts down, as many pages as it takes, random thoughts, whatever, okay? and satisfy yourself before you even truly commit to chords or melody. Now, that might sound like common sense advice, but that's the best I have, because the reverse is so darn tricky when you, especially if you have a verse and a chorus that you like. Okay, now it's time to write a second verse. And well, all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, right? All of a sudden, like, now your poetry, so to speak, your lyrics, your heartfelt ideas, you've painted yourself into a corner. I assume lots of people have this issue. Maybe not. There may be people who, you said you're a word guy, maybe people who aren't a word guy. No, let's be clear. If you listen to a lot of pop music, clearly there are songwriters who are not word people. There's so many songs, now that I think about it, that really appear to be a first draft of the lyrics and also the last draft. Like, that's it. That's all they had. Ooh, baby, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you tonight. It's going to be all right. These are not people who had this internal dialogue in their head. So, yeah. But I'm coming from where you're coming from, where you relish getting coherent thoughts and unique thoughts and poetic thoughts and original thoughts down as a lyricist, and you can paint yourself into a corner. Yeah. So anyways, it's something I've been trying to do actually recently, in all my free time, which I do not have, is to get a whole bunch of thoughts down on paper and get to the point where I can look at the page or the 2 pages and say, there's enough lyrics on paper that I can salvage 20% of them and get a song out of 20%, and then go and put them to music. And I've had success, my own personal success with that method, where it's like, ooh, wait a minute, now I got all these words to choose from, and life is good. So there you go. That's my my 2 cents. I love talking about songwriting. I just wish I had a gold record behind me. I can say, well, here's what I did for that gold record, and here's what I did for that gold record. And yeah, okay. Okay, how about another minute or 2, and then I'll tell you my Fender Custom Shop story, because it's in me and it's got to come out. Okay. That Christmas book is only available from me. It's my Christmas book. And you can get it from my website, song-bike.com. And you'll see, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to tell you. I have a video on my website that goes along with that Christmas book. And so if you have any doubts about anything in that Christmas book, there's a video of me doing the melody. I think if I remember right, I have the melody and the chord strumming together as if I was a 2-man band, so to speak. And then I have a video of me doing the chord melody version, the more sophisticated version, if you will. And I have that for each of the 31 songs. So, okay. I'm reading. Doug says, Jonathan, did you do this so you could make this accessible for all guitars and beginner? Doug, if you're talking about the Christmas book, yeah. I'll tell you, but all my books, I use the word accessible because the word easy is not a useful word. You see it all the time. The Eagles for easy guitar, blues or easy blues. And that's not a helpful word because it's overused, and it plants a seed in your head that if you can't do it right away, if you can't even do easy guitar, then you probably should get a new hobby or something. So I use the word accessible, and that's works better for me. You make something accessible, meaning you make it so the student can understand it, they get it, and then you have to help them accept the idea that now you have to do it 1,000 times, but they get the thing. But that universal trick, I bet a bunch of you are like, oh, universal riff trick. I got that, but it might be tomorrow or the next day before you're zipping up and down, doing it in a natural flowing kind of way. Yeah. Here's a little thing I want you to think about, because it's something that's in a weird sort of way, it largely motivates me to do what I do. Okay, so I want you to imagine me as a 12-year-old, and I really wanted a motorcycle badly. And so I got the next best thing, which is a motorcycle magazine, right? Because that I could afford from the local drugstore. So I go home with a motorcycle magazine, and I didn't understand a word of it, right? Because it's not written, not only is it not written for a 12-year-old kid, but it's not even written for someone who is not knowledgeable, right? It's not written for beginners. And, you know, other than the pictures, which are wonderful, dynamite pictures, it was a bummer. I do not want you to have that experience. I do not want you to open up a book or a guitar magazine or this thing they call YouTube, and have that experience that I had. Now, some of you are like, that's a weird leap, Jonathan. But some of you, okay, hopefully you get that. But anyways, that was a real slap in the face to me well, okay, that's a little aggressive, but it was a real part of my education. That just because I'm curious about something doesn't mean that the source of information is appropriate for me. So for a 12-year-old kid, that motorcycle magazine was not helpful in any way whatsoever. I mean, I could read, but the information was not written for me. You are musical human beings. My attitude is that everyone's a musical human being. Why can't information be presented to you? Why do you have to be anything other than who you are to get access? Remember that word accessible, to get access into this world of music, right? So, and I think about that motorcycle magazine experience, not every day, because that would be weird. I think about it often, especially because you know, I teach at least 6 days a week, my one-on-one students, my online students. And so I'm reminded constantly of what it's like to have a door kind of slammed in your face, or let's make it more gentle, a veil between information and your desire to do something. You know, it's frustrating. Okay, so thank you. Beginner Guitar says, can you do a songwriting stream one day? How do a song for beginner songwriters? Yeah, I'd love to. Chuck, you didn't see the Christmas book at your site? It's there. I think it might even be the very on the very homepage, on the very first thing. So when you go, like, just go to the website, and it's not on my YouTube channel, www.song-bike.com. I don't know if that's reversed for you guys, but anyways, song-bike.com. Okay, hey, I'm gonna try to make this quick. Last live stream, I told you I was waiting for my Fender Custom Shop Telecaster that I ordered just about 21 months ago. So quick recap. I had been teaching guitar for 29 years in the year 2021. Remember 2021? And I thought, you know what, man, I've been self-employed my whole life. I don't get a pension out of this. I don't get a 401k. Heck, I don't get vision or dental, folks. I pay for my own health insurance for myself and my family. That's fine. It's a choice that I made, you know. But darn it, I deserve something when my 30th teaching anniversary rolls around. So I decided I'm going to get a Fender guitar. And at that time, I was a fan of Fender musical instruments, and you know, I thought I'm going to splurge and get myself something, and I thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool, like a Fender guitar in honor of teaching for 30 years. Okay, so I went to a local guitar dealer who was a Fender Custom Shop dealer. I tried out a bunch of guitars, so I knew the neck I wanted, the frets, a bunch of details. We ordered the guitar. I put down $1,000. That gives you a sense for how expensive the guitar is. If the deposit is $1,000, the guitar is not $1,100, folks. And the guitar was ordered. I was informed 12 to 14 months to get the guitar. I thought, you know what, that puts it right around Christmas time. I thought Christmas of 2022, I'm going to get this guitar. And so I was very excited, and it just, made me feel so good. I was going to get this Fender Custom Shop custom guitar. I had 12 to 14 months to save up for it, to pay for the rest of it, which is optimistic, but optimistic financially and also time-wise is optimistic, because those 12 to 14 months blew by, and January came, and the dealer, actually when January of 2023 came, the dealer said, hey, good news, 2 more months. I thought, okay, that makes it March of 2023. And that deadline came and went. In the beginning of May, Fender told me, the end of the month, your guitar will be done. And it turns out they were right. At some point, end of May, early June, my guitar was done, and it was shipped to the dealer. The dealer did not tell me this. So last Wednesday morning, I was like, man, I'm done, man. I'm done. It's been over 20 months, and I'm not getting anything. Little did I know the guitar was sitting at the dealer's about 45 minutes from my house. So I sent the dealer an email saying, hey man, it's time to call. Just give me my deposit back, and I just got to move on with my life. The dealer says, it's been here for a week. We've been trying to email you. You ever have anyone say that? I've been trying to email you. What? Number one, what does that mean? You're trying to email. Number two, the only way slower to get in touch with someone other than email is actual mail. So if you want to get a hold of someone, come on, man. Well, I have reason to believe the reason why they were not getting in touch with me about my guitar was it showed up wrong. My guitar showed up wrong. After 20 months, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, my guitar arrived and it was not exactly what I ordered. It was close, kind of. Do you remember the last live stream? I said, the neck of the guitar is the most intimate connection you have with the guitar. The neck is so important. And I wanted Fender very much to do a process to the back of the neck of the guitar called relicking, to relic the guitar, which is not just sanding off the finish, but it's also an aging process because it feels amazing. It costs $200 extra, and it feels so, so good. And I had tried a guitar before I ordered my guitar with this process done to the back of the neck, and it felt so good. I will go as far as to say that was the most important aspect of my custom shop order. It was what I cared about even more than the shell pink color, even more than the Seymour Duncan humbucker in the neck position, even more than the medium jumbo frets. The guitar arrived. By the way, the dealer said, hey, by the way, your guitar is perfect. I said, is it the specs, what I ordered before I drive over there? He said, yeah, man, it's perfect. It's what you ordered. So I arrive and I say, oh, holy cow. This is not what I ordered. In fact, the one thing that was more important to me than anything was not done by the Fender Custom Shop. And the dealer said, funny thing about that, Fender says they will not just relic the neck if you're not paying them to relic the whole body of the guitar. Now, is that true? I don't know, man. I don't know what's true anymore. I said, well, the guitar is not what I ordered. So I'm now in limbo. Folks, I'm in limbo. So what do you think? Here are several options. The dealer said, hey, we can have our guy in the shop right over there. He can relic the neck for you. I mean, okay, that's option one. Option two is just take it. But hold on, some of you thinking, don't take it. It's not what you paid for. Hold on. What if I take it at a reduced price, significantly reduced price, and have someone else of my own choosing relic the neck? There are people out there, people that have been highly recommended, who will maybe even do a better job than Fender. And remember, this isn't just sanding. Before some of you are like, hey man, get some sandpaper and do it yourself. It's not that simple. It's more than just that. Believe me. So hey, buy the guitar at a reduced price and have someone of my own choosing do it. That's not the worst option, Option three is just to say, dude, After 20 months, man, you can't get it right. And said there's this BS story about, well, it's been here for a week and they blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, man, come on. Fender Musical Instruments is a publicly traded corporation that doesn't care. And by that, I don't mean they don't care about me personally, although that's true. But they, they're gonna have the same fiscal year with or without my purchase or the lack of my purchase. So whether I take the guitar or don't take the guitar, it's water off their back, so to speak. So but my pride is nevertheless involved. It's like, hey, you know what? I hope you make your shareholders happy, but I'm going to take my deposit back and go to one of many, many, many extremely talented small builders all over the country and have them make me a beautiful guitar, and I can shake the guy's hand who made it and his team, if he has a team of people. And isn't that what I should have done in the first place? I know. Now I know. Now I know. For less money. There are builders out there making beautiful instruments, but because they don't say Fender on the end, potentially it's less expensive. It's certainly not necessarily more expensive. Okay, so those are our three options, ladies and gentlemen. To recap, should I have them not ideally, but they can send the guitar back to Fender. Fender fixes it and send it back to me. I mean, that was the deal in the first place. Should I have their guy relic the neck? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go with the guy. I don't know the guy. It's not cool. I paid Fender, or in principle, I put down a deposit for Fender to do the work. Plan 3, take the guitar as is and have someone of my own choosing do the neck, which could be fantastic, right? And those people do exist out there. I'm familiar with some of those people. And plan 4, say, like that's not how you treat people. Any of us, not just me because I'm a YouTuber, but any of us, man. You wait 20 months. If you told me this story, I'd be like, dude, you wait 20 months and they couldn't get it right, especially the one thing that was so important to you. I'd be like, dude, go online. There's so many beautiful makers. So that's plan 4. Okay. Now I hope you guys are giving me some advice. I can tell you no, you know what? On an hour by hour basis, my mind changes. I want this guitar, man, a sweet Fender shell pink Telecaster. I want that guitar. I still want that guitar. I mean, in principle, I still want that guitar. Oh, but there's lots of other options. Okay, so thank you for listening. That's. If you were to ask me, Jonathan, should I order a guitar from the Fender Custom Shop? 100% no. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're in a music store and you find a Fender Custom Shop guitar, you see one online, whatever, maybe that's a different story. If it's already been made and you love everything about it, you get your hands on it, you love it, that's up to you. Don't order one, folks. Don't order it. Don't. Not when there's so much competition. These folks out there working their butts off who can't wait to make you a guitar for the same amount of money, give or take. So last thing, and then we'll move on. Phil McKnight. So I sent a super chat to Phil McKnight yesterday. I sent him $5 and said, Phil, I told him this same story in much fewer words. And Phil said, well, here's the mistake that we all make. It's not custom. It's not custom shop. He said, you can't think of it as a custom shop. It's the way he explained it. And he knows people who work there, and he's dealt with them way more than I ever have. It's simply a small version of what Fender is doing anyways, which is making as many guitars as possible for as many people as possible. And that's different than what I thought a custom shop was. So, a little bit of education there, a little bit of reality check for me. By the way, my guitar was what they call team built, not master built. Master built is you're working with one individual and you're spending 10 grand and presumably they get it right. I don't know. So one more time, if you, I don't know why you'd ask me at this point, but I say, no, do something else. Don't get a Fender Custom Shop guitar. If you see one online that you like, if you go to a music store and you try one out that you like, yeah, go for it. I guess go for it. You're paying more because it says Fender on there, and it could be a beautiful guitar. It could be. Just so you know, I couldn't bring myself to play my own guitar. The back of the neck. Well, first of all, I was just depressed. Just depressed, frustrated, disappointed, mad. Secondly, the back of the neck, I hated it so much. It was so glossy and sticky and new, as it should be, if that's what you ordered. It was exactly like a new guitar should be. And I could just, it was all I could do just to touch it. And it as you can tell, this is an emotional thing, right? But that's because music is connected to our emotions. Our instruments, I don't have to tell you guys this, you have instruments that you want. There's instruments you own. There's instruments you want to own. It's an emotional thing, right? No apologies about that. So if you're going to ask, did I actually try out the guitar? Like someone asked me, well, how did it sound? Dude, I didn't take it out of its case. I couldn't. I reached my hand in, I felt the neck. I mean, I looked at it. Yep, there it is, that glossy, I couldn't do it. Didn't matter how it sounded. I don't care how it sounds. It's not my guitar. It's a beautiful guitar for someone else. Oh, 20 months, man. Last thing on the subject. I feel the need to say, I'm aware this is a first world problem. I know. Russia is not bombing my house. I know. I'm sharing it with you because you guys are guitar players and you care about music and you care about instruments, and so you get it. But yes, I do have a perspective. I have my health. My family has their health, where life is really great, and I got a bunch of cool guitars. So yes, I do have a perspective on this. That's why I'm still smiling, right? But stay tuned. This time next week, anything is possible. The way I left it, the dealer has a call into Fender. Moving on. My music fan 1004 reminds me that I forgot the part of the story where Fender had signed off on. Yeah. To make it clear, there's an order form, and in black and white, it says, relic the back of the neck. So there's no doubt that was part of the thing. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay, looking at your questions. I'm scrolling. How are we doing? We got 36 of you. Thank you for hanging on. 36. We got about a half an hour left in the show here. I'm scrolling through your questions. My wife says Amazon doesn't appear to offer a digital format of the book. Okay, then the Hal Leonard website is where I must have seen it. So if you want a digital format of my one hard copy book, you go through the Hal Leonard website. Okay, Brian asks, can F major 7 and C add 9 be played instead of F and C? Short answer, yes. Longer answer is there's sometimes when you might decide it doesn't sound good for that particular song or that moment in that song. So in general, because I'm an encouraging guy, if you're playing a song and you get to an F chord, and like, dang it, I could play this whole song, but the F chord, I just can't, that's the one reason I can't play the song. Try out an F major 7 chord and see if you can squeak by. Although I'm going to give you an alternative to that. And having said, before I even say that, keep working on your F chord. I have a video called What the F? So if you go to my YouTube channel, What the F? I give you a bunch of options about an F major chord, including probably what I made that video years ago, but it's probably going to say the same thing I'm saying here. For the record, an F major 7 chord, the most common way to play it. Open, skinny first string, open. Open means you're not touching it with your left hand, your fretting hand whatsoever. First finger, second string, first fret. Second finger, third string, second fret. Ring finger, third finger, fourth string, third fret. So it's like a basic F chord, except instead of doing that bar, you are simply touching the second string, leaving the first string open. It's a beautiful sounding chord. But that open E string creates, there we go, that kind of dreamy major seventh chord sound that we talked about earlier. I think that may or may not be appropriate for that song. But say it's maybe you decide it is appropriate, go for it. You're all set. You're just giving the listener a little richer harmony than they might have been expecting. That's fine. Here's another concept, another idea. This takes its own kind of skill. I'm going to grab a guitar pick. Don't change your fretting hand whatsoever from what I just said. Don't change it at all. When you go to strum it, do not include the skinny first string. A 3-note version of F, which is all you need technically to be an F, to give the world an F major chord. You only need 3 strings, 3 notes. I mean, that's the legal requirement there. If you're careful with the pick and you don't hit the skinny first string, then it's not even an F major 7 anymore. It is an F chord, So consider that, especially if F is if you're doing a song that has F in it and you haven't mastered any other version of F, consider doing that. 3 fingers on 3 strings. Your pick is only going to strum 3 strings. But that's an F chord. What you're missing out on is the highs and the lows. Let's call this extreme F. F is a bar chord, extreme F. Well, extreme F here, you have the low and the high. It's just a whole lot of sound, right? Which sounds great, especially on acoustic guitar. You know who might not rely on this version of F? Someone playing electric guitar. In fact, I would go as far as to say an electric guitar player is very likely to choose a smaller version of a chord rather than a big chord. Because don't forget, electric guitar can be as loud, as powerful as you want it to be without necessarily hitting all 6 strings. So, okay, last little tip. The advantage of getting comfortable with playing an F major chord with only 3 fingers on only 3 strings. By the way, just to be 100% clear, you're not going to strum the 2 fat strings whatsoever. You're not going to strum the skinny first string at all, right? Watch this. See what I'm doing there? I'm just gliding around that formation. Let's call it an F formation just for right now. I'm sliding around to different places without losing sight of the formation. I'm getting major chords, major triads, if you like that word, everywhere I go. Technically, here's my F, right? Up 2 frets. There's G. 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. And just because it sounds good with F and G, here's C. A C major triad at 8, 9, and 10. 8 on the 2nd string, that's my index finger. 9 on the 3rd string, that's my middle finger. 10 on the 4th string, that's my ring finger. By the way, I eventually am going to turn these live streams into podcasts, that you can listen to, wherever you might listen to a podcast. And that's why I'm going to try to start describing things for people who are listening as a podcast who can't see my hands, okay? By the way, let me know in the chat if you can envision yourself listening to this as a podcast, because that would be very motivational for me. I know it's a little bit weird because so much of what I do, or what I'm trying to do, is potentially very visual, but I don't know. Why not? Okay. I haven't done it yet, but I think it's pretty easy to convert this live stream stuff into a podcast. So you can go back and listen to, my goal is for you guys to be able to go back and listen to any of these live streams later as podcasts. Okay. So F to C to G. And I chose F, G, and C because that's a nice chord family. There's a lot of songs that are based on F, G, and C. In my mind, C is the 1 chord. We're in the key of C. F would be the 4 chord, and G would be the 5 chord. If you can make it sound like Twist and Shout, then you're doing something right. Slow motion, C, bass at 8, 9, and 10. Okay, here's my C. 2 of those. Gliding back to the F, 2 of those. Up 2 frets to G. And then a lot more Gs. Da, 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 da. Not only is this fun, but this is 100% the way an electric guitar player might choose to play a song, because, as some of you might know, on electric guitar, what we call regular chords on acoustic guitar, G and A minor, so C, A minor, G, all that kind of stuff, they potentially can sound a little boomy and jangly and just without the clarity that you might want. So electric guitar players are, I would say, more likely than acoustic guitar players to take things up the neck whenever possible and get that clarity that comes from playing higher up the neck. Okay, did I answer the question? This all started with Brian asking a very good question. Can you substitute different types of F and C chords instead of regular F and C? And the short answer is yeah. Amy says, hello from BC. Hey, Amy, hope you're doing well. Scrolling down, folks. David says he bought a custom shop Martin 00028. The wait time was 13 months. Well, that sounds like a breeze. It's like serving time in prison. Hey, man, I did 20 months. You know, you only did 13 months, man. I can do 13 months. Like, I can do that all day long. No, but David, congratulations. I'm sure it's a beautiful guitar. And hey, it gives you something to think about for 13 months, right? Hopefully you knew it was going to be about 13 months, give or take. And that just made sense, you know? Okay, everybody. Doug, you're asking what make Fender? Oh, thanks for asking. It is a Fender Telecaster. And what makes it different from just a regular Telecaster is I very much wanted a humbucking pickup in the neck position. Some of you may see Keith Richards sometimes using a Telecaster with a big wide humbucking pickup. You know it's a humbucker because it's wider as opposed to a single coil pickup that's skinny like that, you know. Different sound, different just options. It's not unheard of, but it was part of what I wanted custom about this guitar. But it's not, I mean, they have production guitars that have humbuckers in that position. Nice big fat neck, what they call the U shape. Yeah, so the neck and the humbucking pickup were I would say, I think if I remember right, are the two most custom things about it. The two things that I would be much less likely to find just buying one off the rack, so to speak. Like I said, I love the way the neck felt so much on this other Fender Telecaster that I had tried out. In hindsight, I kind of wish I just bought that Telecaster, but I didn't love the color of it. I mean, it was cool. I wanted shell pink, man. So the odds of finding a shell pink Telecaster with the specs I wanted, really, really, really unlikely. It wasn't going to happen. That's fine. I was happy to wait, you know, a certain amount of time. I don't know. Okay, go back to you guys. Don't forget to put those question marks here ahead of time. Doug mentions that he shops at Sweetwater. Yeah, Sweetwater is a well-run business. You could argue that Sweetwater is contributing to the demise of the mom and pop music shops because Sweetwater is so good at what they do and the prices are so reasonable and they have so much stuff. Sweetwater is Amazon, but for musicians, and this is a big thing. The customer service at Sweetwater is amazing. When you buy something from Amazon, obviously there is no customer service. If you don't like it, you send it back, whatever. Sweetwater, they go above and beyond, not just for me because I'm I don't know, for you, they will go above and beyond for you. Sweetwater is in my experience, it's a well-run company. It's so easy to do business with them that it's one more nail in the coffin of your local music shop. So just David mentions Novo guitars. David Belcher. David, Novo is on my very short list of either what I'll get if this whole Telecaster thing doesn't work out, or, I'm not going anywhere, folks. So when I teach for 40 years on the guitar, which would be 2032, maybe when I go for 35, in 2027, I will have taught for 35 years. 35 years, I got to get another guitar, man. And Novo guitars out of Nashville, man, I never played one, but man, are those cool looking guitars made by a small outfit who I'm sure would be happy to take my money, your money, anyone's money, and for more or less the same price, give or take, as a Fender Custom Shop. You're getting something that really is custom, folks. And if you live anywhere where you can get over to Nashville, you can presumably shake their hand and really get a custom shop experience. At least that's in my little fantasy world. Okay. Charlie Beagle says, I would get my money back. Well, it might be. Doug says, did you get your $1,000 back? No, I put down $1,000, and the dealer has, without saying this exact phrase, the dealer has made it, the dealer understands that I will want my deposit back. And the dealer has not said, you can't have your deposit back. So, I'm that part of the story. I'm pretty confident. About getting my money back. Although I know until it happens, I know a bunch of lawyers, in my line of work, which is teaching really anyone who comes through my door. I meet a variety of professionals, including a bunch of lawyers. So I'm not, that part of it is going to work out okay. I don't think it'll even come to that. Chuck Snyder says, any resonator guitars? I do have a resonator guitar back there. There we go. Where is it? Right there. A metal body Dobro brand resonator guitar. It's very cool. Okay. Bear with me, folks. I'm looking for those question marks. I like all these comments. Hey, Gary MC, how you doing? I appreciate a bunch of these comments. Okay, whoops, what did I do? So I opened something up on my computer here. I don't want to do that. Okay. I'm reading, folks. Hang in there. Yes, Steven said, it's like having your car painted the wrong color. I know, right? I know very well the feeling of driving a car where you do not enjoy the color of the car, and everything else is actually pretty good about the car. And if you don't like the color, hey, Chuck, thanks for sticking around. See, you got to go. Gary MC, he says, of all the YouTube instructors, none tell you where to go in a concise order that you should learn in. What do you suggest? Yeah. Okay. Gary, you're making a great point, and I'm guilty of that to some extent too. People will reach out to me and say, hey, I like your videos. You're great. You got so many videos. Where should I start? It's a totally fair question, 100%. And I have no idea. I could say, hey, man, I don't know you. Sorry, I don't know you. But that's not very helpful, is it? Like a lot of people, I fell into this YouTube thing. I don't want to say accidentally, but almost. And I just cranked out a whole bunch of videos, and I didn't have a plan exactly until 2017. I got an idea to do a song a day for a year. So that was very clear, a song a day, a relatively easy song every day. So in that sense, I had a plan. But when someone says to me, what order should I do your videos in? I personally don't have that yet. Not exactly, but hold on, don't hear me out. I have, my YouTube channel has playlists. that helps both of us. Because if you're looking for finger picking, there's a finger picking playlist. If you're looking for blues, there's a blues playlist. So that's something. What I did until the day comes when I have a set of structured videos is these books back here. So bear with me for those of you who know what I'm about to say here. This is these, I'll make this quick. These books do have videos that accompany these books. Now that's different than going to my YouTube channel. I have over 500 videos on my YouTube channel. I don't have an order set up within those 500. I'm sorry, but until I create a program like that, the guitar for your first week, the guitar for your first month, and the guitar for your first year. This is 100% structured, and there's videos that go along with these books. Head over to my website. You can find out more. Because smart people were asking a good question, and I wanted to come up with an answer. So my answer was, when someone says to me, I want to learn the guitar, I'm a beginner, I struggled with the fact that a lot of people say they're a beginner, but really they play for 2 years, they know a few chords, but they say I'm a beginner. Other people just got a guitar yesterday, they say I'm a beginner. I thought, okay, what can we all agree on? If you've only owned the guitar for a week, this is for you, When you finish this book and it moves into the second week, that's for you, And then as month 1 turns into month 2, okay, there's the next, 11 months of your life. This is structured. It's stuff you should know, stuff you have to know. And is it easy? Yeah, it's really easy. I mean, it's like how to hold the pick. You know what I mean? It's really easy. Of course, I want everyone to buy these books. If you're not sure which is right for you, get that one first. And then if there's stuff in here that truly is baffling you don't get, okay, then go backwards and get month 1. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel strongly that you're going to end up with this book anyways. So start with those 2. Okay. I mean, start with this one. If you're not sure, start with this one and then work your way backwards, Okay. Thank you for hearing me out. But your question was a good question. None tell you how to go in a concise order. There are people who I think they do have these structured courses that you can subscribe to and pay $100 and access all this stuff. And I'm a little bit jealous because I don't know where they have the time to do that, but it's on my list of things to do. So those people do exist, and I hate to send you to the competition, but so I'm not going to, because off the top of my head I don't know who, but I know I've seen and heard about these folks who have these programs that you can buy and subscribe to, and level 1 and 2B and 5C, and then you get a merit badge, and then you get your Webelos and Boy Scouts, and I don't know, whatever you get, gold tassel. I get it. And I hope to have that kind of stuff someday because structure is good. So, but I'm very proud of the books that I've done, and that's it. Those books have videos that go along with it, and once you get through those books, you've got a great foundation. So I got to toot my own horn. So, okay, thanks. Okay, folks, so we got just a few minutes left. I'm going to try to wrap up at a reasonable time here. Hang in there, everybody. Hang in there. Let me read a little bit. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff. Oh, I'm going to give you a few more books a few more book ideas before it's time to go. Hey, beginner guitar. Beginners is offering me a Les Paul. I don't know, man. It would have to be a Les Paul that's all weight relieved, where they make holes in the inside that you can't see. So the Les Paul, instead of weighing 12 or 11 or 10 or 9 pounds, it weighs less. The Gibson necks have just never felt right to me, man. I don't know, but maybe by the time I've taught for 40 years, maybe my hands will be different. Who knows? I'm reading, everybody. I'm reading. Hang in there. Doug Smith, Novo Guitars. Yeah, Novo, N-O-V-O. Michael Carlson says, does your wife or son play the guitar? They do not. They do not have my disease. But they are, so short answer is nope. My son played the tuba in his high school band. And now that high school is done, I think, son, I think your tuba career, I mean, I hope you play for fun, but I think his tuba career might be done. CLS Crate asks, can you list songs that are good for learning to play and sing at the same time? Yeah, great. Last week you said Knock on Heaven's Door was good. Yeah. You Can't Always Get What You Want by the good old Rolling Stones. A great one. There's one huge problem with You Can't Always Get What You Want, which is that you need an F chord, and you need an F chord a lot. But bear with me for a second. You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones, in its simplest form, is 4 counts in a C chord and 4 counts on an F chord. So, her today at the reception. In its simplest form, that's almost the entire tune right there, including the chorus. You can't always get what you want. So there's my F chord, okay, C to F. The only moment in the song where it is not C to F, 4 counts each, is always get what you want. Right on the word try. On the word try, it changes to D to F, D major, D as in dogs. If you try sometime, F, you just might find you get what you, and it returns back to C, F. D, there's my C. Okay, so good news is that's the whole song. In the big picture, I don't want to get into, did Keith Richards retune his guitar? Did this? I'm talking big picture. C to F the entire time, except on the word try, it's D to F. Okay. So number 1, hey, there's your motivation to learn the F chord. Or remember, you can fudge it, that F chord. A 3-finger, 3-string F chord. Oh, check this out. Remember, it's a C chord going to F, right? My index finger didn't move an inch. Look at that. C to the 3-finger F. My index finger never even budged, and yours doesn't have to either. So, okay, there's a workaround. Just remember, when you go to strum the F chord, to only strum the 3 that you're touching. It's still called an F chord. There's no other name for it. We could call it a 3-finger F, just if that makes you happy. Okay, so plan B, and this could be a topic for, well, I'll just tell you right now. Because my ultimate goal for all of you is to take a song like this and play along with the original, not do some version of it. It's like, no, let's play along with the original. Okay, we are going to transpose the song to a different key, but the capo is going to put us back into the Rolling Stones key. Okay, gather around, everybody. Capo behind the 5th fret, if you don't have a point of view, is G to C. The entire song, today at the reception, it's G to C. 4 strums on G in the beginning, followed by 4 strums on C. Notice I'm doing G with middle ring and pinky. Why? Because it makes sense. Because look how easy it is to go from G to C. See how easy that is? I know a lot of you do G this way. Nothing wrong with that in some context. Index, for those of you who are not watching, I'm doing G with my index, middle, and ring. That's okay sometimes. Doing G with your middle ring and pinky makes way more sense if you're doing this. G to C. Okay, and then the one bonus chord, if you try sometimes, A major, easy peasy. So instead of G to C, G to C, G to C, when you get to that word try, A to C. If you try sometimes, there's the C chord now, you just might find, you get what you, and now we're back to the G, C sequence. 4 counts, no matter which chord we're talking about this whole song, we're talking about 4 counts in each. A lot easier for those of you who don't like F chords. Okay, how can we get away with this? Because it's our friend the capo, that's how we can get away with it, So this all started because of the question, what are some other easy songs to strum along with? You Can't Always Get What You Want is fantastic. If you want to play along with the recording, but you're not good at F yet, that's the operative word. capo on at 5, G and C, A is that bonus chord, you're done. I must have a video on how to play your cantos, get what you want. And I wouldn't be surprised if I describe this exact same thing with a capo in that video. So other songs for playing and singing. Oh, well, hold on. I should make a book with just this exact topic. But now I'm going to mention some songs, and some of you might be like, "Oh, I don't love that song," or "That's a whatever." This is I get it. I'm just talking about songs that are that pop in my head. That song, "Lucky Man." Ooh, what a lucky man he was. All I remember is it's really easy. Just look up the chords on Ultimate Guitar. Something about "Lucky Man." Really easy background chords. The Eagles have a song called. Hold on, don't go anywhere. There's an Eagles song that is so repetitive. Is it Already Gone? Yeah, Already Gone. Now, this is the EZ version, right? I don't know if this book is in print anymore, but it's cool. They did this. This is Warner Brothers Music. And in this series, there are like 40 artists, everyone from, Alabama, America, Asia, Jackson Brown, Jimmy Buffett, all the way through Cat Stevens, Rod Stewart. It's probably not in print anymore, but hey, anyways, Already Gone by the Eagles. I don't know if this is the right key, but the entire tune of Already Gone is G for 4 counts, D like dog for 4 counts, and C for 8 counts. I heard some people talking just the other day. Okay, I can't resist. Since I'm in fine voice today here on this rainy day in Connecticut. Fine voice, I tell you. Just the other day. Okay, and again, we're talking big picture. I'm not talking about, did the Eagles exactly do this thing, but I heard some people talking just the other day. 5, 6, 7, 8. G 2, 3, 4. D 2, 3, 4. C 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. According to this book, and I have no reason to doubt it, that is the entire song. Okay. All right. So those are some. You're asking a great question. There are plenty more out there, but those are some that pop into my head right away. Okay, hey, before I forget, I wanted to bounce a couple more things off you guys. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do this one. Possibly the most useful book I've ever used as a teacher. This is for you diehard 39 people who have been here for or some of you, potentially have been here for over 2 hours. Possibly, I'm laughing because you're going to be a little bit surprised. Possibly the most useful book I've used as a teacher. Right up there in the top few. Check it out. The Beatles' Greatest Hits, Easy Play Guitar. Why have I found this book so useful? This is from Hal Leonard Publications. Again, I don't work for Hal Leonard. I don't. Just that they dominate the market, man. You can't avoid. Okay. The reason why I found this extremely useful, and I'm going to start with All My Lovin', the very first song. Okay. Remember my sales pitch about the Christmas book? This is kind of the same thing. Okay, you guys see that okay, maybe? Okay, so All My Lovin'. You could just play the melody and written out here in tab, close your eyes, da-da-da-da. Okay, nothing wrong with that. You got to start someplace. This may be all you're capable of at the moment. That's fine. Or bear with me, you could play the melody, even if you find it extremely easy, but your friend could play the chords, right? Okay, now you've got something, You could only play the chords and sing along. Great, there they are right there. For some reason, when they want you to play A or G7, for some reason they put the 7 outside the box. I don't know what's up with that. It's a G7 chord. They put the 7 over there. Can you see that? I don't know what's up with that. When you're playing the melody, if you're only playing the melody, no shame in that. If you're only playing the melody, sometimes they throw in a few harmony notes to go along with the melody. It's like you're playing a mini chord. You can choose to do those harmony notes, or you could choose to just do the top note, which is the melody note when you see a group. Anyways, I'm happy to talk about this more, but I wanted to remember to suggest this. It's a well-written book. There's about 15 or 16 different Beatles tunes. It's accessible. There's that word, accessible. I paid $16 for it. It's probably more now, but in the back, a bunch of chords presented in kind of an interesting way. I don't want to get into it right now, but this page is sort of a generic chord page they could have put at the back of any book, but it's a good conversation starter. But this is kind of wild too. Again, this does tie in with Beatles songs, but they're saying, hey, here are 10 strumming patterns if you're playing with a pick to accompany these songs, and 10 finger picking patterns if you choose to finger pick the accompaniment, which is kind of mind blowing. So what they're saying is that any given tune, at the top of the page of any of these Beatles tunes, they're going to suggest a strumming pattern that's appropriate. They're not claiming it's what the Beatles do. They're saying it's an appropriate strumming pattern with a pick, or an appropriate finger picking pattern. Again, not necessarily what the Beatles are doing, but something that works, which is, I've always been kind of blown away by this page. Like, well, that is as a standalone resource. That's kind of cool. So anyways, the Beatles' greatest hits, but if you're searching for it, you have to call it Easy Play Guitar. Yeah, I've used this a lot as a teacher. So, okay, I just want to give you guys a little extra information there. Okay, so it's just about time to wrap up this live chat. Everybody, I'm looking for those question marks. Where Charlie Beagle says, will your son be doing tutorials? I see what you did there. ELW is asking, did I ever make a video on Radar Love? What a great song, Radar Love. I don't think I did. I might have. I don't think I did. One of the coolest drum solos, Radar Love from Canada, right? Golden Earring from Canada. Not a one-hit wonder. Golden Earring had at least one other hit song that made it into mainstream US, charts. If you would ask me what their other hit song was, I'd know it if I heard it, but they have at least one other big hit song. Okay, I'm reading through your comments. I see a lot of good comments here. Okay, all right, you guys. So I think it's just about time to wrap up. We managed to do it again. As they used to say, you've just wasted another 2 hours of your life. No, but you remember those guys, the car guys on National Public Radio? Remember those guys, Click and Clack? They would always wrap up their radio show by saying, well, you did it again. You just wasted another hour of your life. But anyways, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving us a thumbs up. Look at that, 44 thumbs up. I'll take that. Some of you contributed to the cause with a super chat. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that some of you might head over to my website and pick up some of these books. I appreciate that. Those of you who are like, oh yeah, I should learn some Christmas songs. I'll get around to it. Do it now, man. Get the book now. I'm just saying, because you want to start now. I know it sounds like I'm a salesman, but as a fellow human being who I have my own relationship with procrastinating. Remember Steve Carell on The Office? He said, I used to crastinate and then I went pro. Get it? Start now, man. If you want to have a bunch of Christmas songs ready for the holidays, man, start now. You won't regret it. Plus the skills, I feel this way about lots of stuff. The skills that you get from doing something that's a little bit challenging, you're going to use those skills for a lot of stuff in the future. So we can call it working on a Christmas song, but you're using skills you're going to use in the future, just like you're using chords that you can use in the future. Okay. I'm good for next Saturday, if you guys are. Next Saturday is a new month, July 1st. If I don't see you next Saturday, if you have plans, I'm going to wish you happy 4th of July. For those of you who celebrate 4th of July, I am going to remind you that everything we did today very quickly turns into a YouTube video that you can go back and watch. I go back and I timestamp these live streams so that you can access stuff quickly. In the description of this video, you will see, okay, here's the part where Jonathan talked about this. Here's the part when somebody asked this, and it makes it easy for you to jump in. You get the idea. Let's see. Oh my God, we didn't do the North Country Fisher. No, we didn't do the circle of fifths. Sorry. Next time. Instead, you got the Fender guitar story. Okay, so everybody, I think I'm gonna remember something else momentarily, but I want to thank you for your time. I will see you next Saturday. Next Saturday, same time, same place. I would love to promise you a new guitar video this week, but I know better than to promise anything. If you have not checked out my video on the Stand By Me challenge that posted last night, please check that out. I think you get a kick out of it. 10 different ways to play Stand By Me. And real quick before I say goodnight, the idea is because Stand By Me is both a great song and it doesn't have a distinct identifiable guitar part, those are two reasons why it's fun to jump in and play it a variety of ways. So in the Stand By Me challenge, you can choose to play it level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And in general, the levels get harder. But, depending on your exact skills, some of you who are great with bar chords, you might not find one level to be harder than the previous level, and so on. But anyways, it's fun to take a tune and sort of test your ability. Can you get to level 4? Can you get to level 7? Is level 10 actually easier for you than level 8 or whatever? So check them out. There is an accompanying PDF, which you'd find to be very helpful. To get that PDF, you go to my website, song-bike.com. You do have to become a member of the website if you're not already, but that membership gets you access to all the PDFs that I've posted and lots of great videos. Okay, my wife says, great job, sweetie. Thanks, sweetie. So thank you, everybody. I got to come up with a cute way to say goodbye, a cute thing like, hey, stay safe out there, everybody. So do stay safe. I hope to have positive news about my custom guitar, wherever life takes me. I hope to have positive news about that. Okay, thank you for watching, everybody. It's been over 2 hours. I will see you next Saturday, same time, same place. Good night, everybody.